This is a paid advertisement on behalf of Volcanic Gold Mines. What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital, and we're here with Simon Ridgway, CEO of Volcanic Gold. Pleasure to have you on today, Simon. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite, Aaron.
Yes, so this video is brought to you on behalf of Volcanic Gold. And for those who may not be familiar with Volcanic Gold, can you give us a brief introduction to the company, its vision, and what sets it apart in the gold exploration space?
Well, Volcanic is geographically focused on an area I've worked in for the last 20 or 30 years off and on because of the political changes. That area is Guatemala in Central America. Geologically, very similar to Mexico in that Central American belt. There's a lot of great exploration potential in the country. The geology is fantastic. Politics come and go, right? So, I've taken the political risk and not the geological risk. So Volcanic's got gold projects and other ideas in the country, for some critical mineral ideas in the country as well. And we are pursuing those. Um, we have a very interesting gold discovery that presently is at about 400,000 ounces at a grade of about 9 grams, so sort of an underground target. But we're looking at a lot of other things in the country um, as time goes on. We've been down there for about 3 years now.
Wow, so let's talk about the opportunity here. So, from an investor's perspective, what makes Volcanic Gold a compelling opportunity right now? Are there specific catalysts or strategic advantages you believe the market should be paying attention to?
Yeah, well, we made a discovery a few years ago at the Holly property, as I mentioned. It's got, like I said, 400,000 ounces at a grade of 9 grams. It's about 50 kilometers north of one of my previous discoveries, which is now owned by Ora Minerals. It's the Cerro Blanco gold deposit, which sits at about 3.5 million ounces. Um, I do believe that in the near future, Cerro Blanco will be heading towards production. So the ounces I'm finding at the Holly will be, will be discovered near a mine that's going to get built in the very near future. So that ups the value of it quite a bit. We had some social issues there a couple of years ago that stopped me drilling, and we've been working on gaining that social license back for the last couple of years. And from my recent trip down there, I think we've been very successful. All the people in the area want work. The meeting with the mayor and the consejo, which is the councils of the area, they're keen to get us back there. So I think sometime in the next few months, we will be able to start that drilling again at Holly and try to increase that resource. The gold grades we got in the last few holes at Holly are quite amazing. We were getting 4.5 meters of multi-ounce gold and kilos of silver in those drill intercepts. So to get back to, with this gold price, to be able to drill those kind of intercepts is something pretty special.
So, Simon, for our viewers who don't know you, you have a lot of experience. You founded some really interesting companies. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, well, I started prospecting in the Yukon back in the early 90s. I'm not a geologist. I'm a prospector financier, as I class myself. So I started working up in the Yukon territory looking for gold. Actually, the first company I listed was called Tombstone. It was listed back in 1991, and I took it to Venezuela just before the gold rush hit there. So, I've worked in Latin America pretty much since then, made quite a number of gold discoveries. I've been fairly lucky. And I've done that by picking geographical situations where the competition has been not there. I used to say to people, I'm not very good at prospecting, so I have to go where there's no competition. And that's paid dividends. I've made some good discoveries in Honduras, Mexico, Guatemala. And now I'm back in the Yukon with Rackler Gold, but Volcanic right now is the company I'm focused on in Central America. Again, geographically, there's not too many companies exploring in Guatemala, so that gives us quite an advantage if you can be patient, have the patience for the geological and political uncertainty.
Definitely. So let's talk about the recent company news. You've had some recent developments at Volcanic Gold. Can you walk us through the key highlights and what they mean for the company moving forward?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things I'm not going to get into too far, but there's a couple of critical minerals in the country that we are in negotiations on acquiring some of those properties. So I'll just touch on that. But the biggest benefit of looking at volcanic right now is the Holly property, which is in the area of Chiquimula in Guatemala. We have a very high grade discovery there that's presently sits in, getting close to 500,000 ounces at a third of an ounce of gold per ton. A lot of silver with that also. So that's the area that we're going to focus on for the rest of the interview. We'll talk about that, how far I think that could grow, and how we're going to go about getting back the social license to be drilling there again.
While we're talking about that, Guatemala as a mining jurisdiction, very important. So obviously volcanic gold is focused on Guatemala. How would you describe the mining and investment climate there? Like what are the benefits and challenges compared to other gold producing regions globally?
Well, the benefits and challenges are the ones I mentioned. I mean, the benefits are geologic. The geology is fantastic. The geographically, it's got very good infrastructure. Politically, it's difficult. So there are no other companies working. There's really nobody exploring in the country right now. Pan American has got a very large silver mine down there that's been shut down for a number of years called Escobar. I actually discovered that vein. I didn't make the discovery of the deposit though, because I didn't drill deep enough, but we did find the vein. Cerro Blanco gold deposit, which is about 3.5 million ounces. I did discover that and sold that to Glamis Gold, which became Goldcorp many years ago, and that is still not in production. But I do think things are changing there, in part because of what's happening in the USA with a lot of people being sent back to their home countries. A lot of money was sent from people working up in North America and sending that money down to Central American countries. That flow of money is drying up, obviously. So the countries are going to realize the fact that they need to develop um, their own resources and develop work for their populations, right? In mining and other industries. And I think that change is taking place as we speak. So I think it's a good time to start looking back at the Central American countries for mining.
Yeah, it took some time, but as you said, timing might be perfect right now. So looking ahead, what should current and prospective shareholders be watching for over the next 6 to 12 months? Are there any major milestones or updates on the horizon that you're
Yeah,
particularly
I
excited?
think we'll start drilling again on the Holly property in the next few months. And like I said, the results we had in the last drill holes we put in were very exciting. If we can continue to hit those kind of intercepts, 4.5 meters of 50 odd grams gold and 5 kilos of silver. Another interval we had was 5 meters of something very similar, 3 kilos of silver and 79 grams gold. So some very high grade intercepts, and the vein is wide open at depth and into the north and south. So we need to get back there and start drilling again. So when you see that announcement, um, it's a good time to take a look at the stock.
Definitely. Well, thank you for the information, the intro. It's a very interesting story. I'm sure you know how to navigate that ship, so we'll definitely be having you back on for more updates, but it was a pleasure, Simon.
A pleasure talking to you, Aaron. Thanks for the interview.